especially in the space that I'm kind of in on Twitter in particular and YouTube to a lesser degree, there's a lot of guys, you might call it like the red pill space, the incel space, like people sort of conflate a lot of these things together, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of bitter men in there. And look, objectively, I'm going to say they've got a reason to be bitter. They were raised to brainwashed through every TV show they watched, every movie they watched, all the music they listened to, all the media they're absorbing is telling them, oh, act like a bitch and women will like you.
Right.
That's what they've been told, basically. Like, my favorite example is Ross from Friends. The absolute peak little bitch. And he just kept, like, Rachel just runs circles around him all his life. He's in love with her, and she just doesn't give a fuck about him. And then eventually he gets her. Because, of course, that's how reality works. Of course.
Right.
Of course. But these guys in this space, they have, like, okay, if you looked at it objectively, like, okay, you'd probably you'd feel pretty bitter too if you've been lied to your whole life.
Of course you would.
Every woman you've had a relationship with or interacted with, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you've been told to be, being a good boy, being a nice gentleman, being like, nothing wrong with being a gentleman, but without any balls behind you.
Right.
Right. Not having, you've been told deliberately to tone down the very essence of your masculinity, the very essence of manhood, and then women will like you, and they don't.
Yeah.
You're like, what's going on? I've been like, the whole world told me I should be doing this, and it's not working. But again and again and again and again.
If this is a psyop, and this seems like this is an intentional agenda that's being pushed,
yes.
The next
Very
question is why?
Separate the family, right? If you break apart the family, family used to be, like I said, with the hierarchy, right? Man, woman, child. It's a very clear hierarchy. It's a structure. It's orderly, and the man's in charge of making decisions for the household. Women are the primary consumers. There's a couple of reasons here. Women are primary consumers of the household now, right? They make a lot of the purchasing, buying decisions, whilst men earn the money.
Exactly.
When you break apart the family like that into, individualized units, cool. You now have a whole 50% of the population you can control through media. You can influence their buying habits. You can influence their voting habits, right? And women are far more susceptible to groupthink than men are.
Yeah.
Far more susceptible to brainwashing and all these kinds of things because they're biologically programmed to be more susceptible. If we come from like small tribal groups where being an outcast means death, right? Yeah. And men are the ones who are risk takers. Women are. This goes back to this point I made ages ago about women being attracted to assholes, right? Women are. You can look at the asshole. A better way to look at a man who you might call an asshole is risk taker.
Right.
Women are attracted to successful risk takers, right? However, back in the day, if you were an unsuccessful risk taker, you would just be dead. Right. Think about the guy who, in a modern example, the guy who rides motocross and does like a full backflip on a motorcycle. That's a risk taker, but that guy is attractive to women because he's a successful risk taker. The guy who didn't complete the backflip broke his neck and is dead. So he doesn't even count.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So from the women's perspective, all they actually see, because all that's left, are the successful risk takers.
Right.
And that is something that women have been biologically programmed to be attracted to. The successful risk takers are the ones who end up running the tribe. They're the ones who who kill the lion. They're the ones who kill the woolly mammoth and provide a feast for everyone. The one who takes the risk is the one who wins, right? So that idea of being a successful risk taker is like hardwired into being attractive to women.
Yeah. All right, so we had some technical difficulties, guys. Let's light up one of these
cigars. We're going to celebrate this.
But we were talking about the nuclear family, right? Mm. And I think like this is so true, and it's showed especially in how the U.S. government approached the issue of black families in America. One of the first things that they did was take the fathers out of the homes. Did you know that they incentivized the mothers to have the father outside of the home so that they could get welfare checks?
Yeah.
And so like they did that, and also when they flooded the hoods with drugs, they put all the men in jail.
Yep.
It literally decimated the black community. And that's kind of like, that's the reason why a lot of our population are living the way that we live.
Before the welfare state in America, to my knowledge, black Americans had a lower divorce rate
100%.
than whites did.
Yeah.
Which, if you like looking at the state things are in now today, is mind blowing that was ever the case.
1,000%.
But it's a welfare state that does it. It's incentives. If you incent, like, you can understand a lot about the way the world works and the way things are just by looking at incentives. Incentives are the thing that drive the world.
Right.
Like, people can, and this is what happens with a lot of government programs actually, is people can design a system or design a program, a welfare program or something with an intention to get a desired outcome, but they don't look at the incentives they're putting in front of people, and it produces a completely different outcome. One such example is, paying single mothers.
Yeah.
Child support, welfare like this for single mothers. What does it incentivize? It incentivizes women to kick the man out of the home.
Exactly.
Rather, like, the intention of the program was, oh, let's support women whose man has left them. Right. It's done the complete opposite. It's encouraged the women to kick the dude out of the home so they can get more money.
They said that that's what they intended to do, but I think like with all, a lot of the government psyops, they have a bigger agenda here. I don't think they want to see blacks succeed or at this point any family succeed with how they're pushing these messages.
Yeah, because you can't, if you can break the family apart, the family's easy to control.
Yeah.
Segregate you got 50% of the voting population. If you think of it like this, as simple as how easy to brainwash and manipulate women are emotionally. They're very, very easy to emotionally manipulate en masse. They're very susceptible to being told that this is the right thing to do, or to being shamed into things. That's the best way of describing it. Women are very, very susceptible to shame, especially group shame, collective shame.
Yeah.
It'll dictate their actions. If you break the family apart like that, very, very easy to control 50% of the population. Now, if women are in a patriarchal household where the man's in charge, he acts like a buffer to that brainwashing. Right. She might see something in a paper or hear something at coffee with her friends. She comes home to a structure where the man's in charge, and he leads her. He's like, baby, that's bullshit. Here's why. Don't worry about that. I got this.
Yep.
Right? But if she doesn't have that man in the house to do that for her, or if she's been taught to not listen to her man, to not respect her man, that she's a strong, independent woman and he can't tell her what to do, she needs to think for herself. Think for herself means follow what daddy government says, basically, then you lead to the shithole that we're in right now.